Even though my opinion in City just rattles a lot of people. That's for a different episode.
Changing the thank you, 1,100 likes now. That's amazing. Thank you all very, very much. I wanted to change the subject slightly, keeping it a bit on Chelsea. I saw a tweet today that's caused a lot of debate, and I want to get Mo's opinion on this. Cole Palmer should start for England over Bukayo Saka.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Oh my God, he played half a season, and you guys, he's good player. Cole Palmer, I like him. I like how he plays. Bukayo Saka starts ahead of everyone in England on the right winger, in my opinion. Even Phil Foden, by the way. Even Phil Foden on the right winger. Numbers don't lie, non-penalty. And I'm not going to talk stats on the eye. I believe Bukayo Saka is a better winger than Cole Palmer, right? Cole Palmer is a very good player, but he's more of a playmaker winger. Bukayo Saka is better on the right side. Fans, you guys, I know that people like to raise this, and I like it. I love debates about players. And I like the comparison between Palmer, Saka, and Foden. But I think Saka is still a superior player to Foden, especially on the right wing. If Palmer is going to start, he should start in the middle as a 10. But there are better players than him in the league, which is Maddison. Foden is a better player at the 10. Bellingham from Real Madrid is a better player in the 10 than him. I don't believe Cole Palmer has a starting place in the England national team. He can be a sub for Saka sometimes. But I believe Saka is better than him. Everything says that, in my opinion. My eye test says that. Goals say that. I believe a team is top of the league and a team is 11th. Yes, you can be great. But to be honest, Palmer is good. Me saying that Saka's good, and it rattles a lot of people when we say, I will take Maddison over Odegaard, or I will take Rice over Rodri. You think I'm slagging the other guy and I'm saying the other guy is bad. No, I'm just saying, it might be a conversation, but I'm choosing Saka. But just to let you know, it's not even a conversation. It's not, in my opinion.
I'm going to keep it consistent when it comes to England. For years, I used to work when I was a kid, about 15, 16, I used to work in a builder's merchants, selling building materials and their little bathroom centre there. And I remember one Saturday I was in the bathroom centre doing probably just paper clipping stuff together, because that's all I really did as a kid. There's a man there called Jimmy Ing, and it was a really good football lesson for me. And everyone was talking about England. It was on the build-up to a World Cup or a Euros, and he said, we'll be let down again. And we were all like, nah, we'll be all right. You know, we're really enthusiastic kids. And he said, and we said, well, why, Jimmy? Why are you so negative? And he said, because England isn't run like a club. And we all went, of course it isn't. It's an international team. And he looks at us all like we were stupid. And with hindsight, we were. He said, no, it should be Club England. And yes, certain players on form should be given an opportunity, but you should be building a team and building relationships like a club does. So just because, and we've done this with certain players, just because Maguire's not in the best of form for Man United, he's playing well for England, he should play for England because he does well in that England team. It shouldn't be about the star names. It shouldn't be about who's flavour of the month. It shouldn't always be about who's in the best form in the Premier League. It should be about, part of it should be who's done well for England. And when I look at Bukayo Saka, I would say in the Premier League, he overall, I would still say he's better than Cole Palmer right now.
Yeah,
I would. But when it comes to England, let's remove everything about the Premier League. Saka has been England's best player for 2 years running. He barely puts a foot wrong. His performances have been exemplary. So I don't care how good Cole Palmer's done this year. That's Bukayo Saka's spot. Now, Cole Palmer, when he comes on the pitch, whether it's in the 10, the left, the right-hand side, whatever it is, start to produce and try to push him out, as you would if you signed for Arsenal and you were part of his club. This Club England approach needs to stay, where 70, 80% of that squad is part of a squad that's picked regularly, that builds a relationship. There is always room for exceptional talent and exceptional form. So Cole Palmer being introduced, Kobbie Mainoo coming into the squad, but you need to have a core group that play together regularly, that are familiar with one another. If you literally pick the squad and change the starting 11 based on Premier League form, you would never create a cohesive team because they wouldn't know each other's game. And we need to get into that mindset as a nation. So just because Palmer's on fire, right, and Palmer's had an amazing season, I rate this guy so highly. I think Chelsea have bought an absolute star. I think it's actually a signing that is going to help Chelsea, stop Chelsea being even lower in the league, but it's a signing that is actually going to maybe cost City the Premier League title. If they had a Cole Palmer in some of these games where they need a goal, this man has got goals in him.
Wow.
And like, I genuinely think that they might end up regretting that, Man City, considering the likes of Nunez and Doku, etc., haven't hit the heights. They should have kept this young man. I think he's phenomenal. So I'm not playing him down in any way, shape, or form. But Saka is England's starter on the right. I would start Foden on the left-hand side of that attack right now, Kane in the middle, and then the midfield three is so simplistic, in my opinion, to pick. You go with Declan Rice. Next to him, I'm picking Mainu, and ahead of him, you've got to pick one of the best players in the world right now in Jude Bellingham. That, as a team, has great defensive strength, amazing passing ability, skill, speed, power, goals. That is formidable in every single way, shape, and form. And then you have the likes of Maddison. Then you have the likes of Cole Palmer. Rashford, by the way, his England record of recent years has also been pretty good. Forget what he's done for Man United this season. Those types of players with their qualities coming on from the bench gives you so much ammunition. That is what I would do. I want to see Mainu tested first in these friendlies. I want to see him given an opportunity to what he's like. But this kid's special because him and Rice together would be absolutely formidable. That is what I would go with. But when it comes,
he tried to like put Mainu here in the starting 11 for England.
I would
now.
I'd start him. I think he's good enough. I think
he's good, but I don't think he should start for England now. 18 years old. He played 12 games, looked all right, and I was praising him so much, but I don't think he should start at all.
I hear you.
Should be Bellingham, Maddison, and Declan Rice.
But where does hang on a minute? Okay, where does Maddison play?
Maddison, Bellingham, and Declan Rice.
Yeah, but where does Maddison play?
Both eights, like he plays.
2 8s. See, I just think Maddison's a 10, and I think when you put Maddison in an 8. I don't think he's strong enough in the central midfield areas for us. I think he's a brilliant 10. I think he's a good 8. And this is the thing. When I look at Cobby, I get Rooney vibes. Different position, but Rooney had only played a handful of games. Went into England, natural. I think you'll see if he plays in his next 2 games, I think people will see this kid's ready for England. I think he's ready for anything. I think he's that good at his age. And people say it's recency bias. You can call it recency bias. I understand that challenge.
But hold on, your logic doesn't make sense. You literally just said that Cole Palmer shouldn't get into the England squad because of the current form, but you want to put Mainu there because of the current form. So why?
I'll explain why. No, it's not a contradiction. I'm talking about Saka's form for England over Cole Palmer is why I go with Saka, no matter what's going on in the Premier League, in that right-hand side position. That is Saka's. If, for instance, Declan Rice had a player next to him who was in amazing form, then I would not be advocating for Mainu to go in there. But with Calvin Phillips not playing football, with Henderson, who's played in that position, being over the hill, I think it's up for grabs. I understand why people want James Maddison in it, but James Maddison isn't a stalwart, isn't a regular in a central midfield role for England. No one is. I think Mainu would be the best option out of everyone we've got in that position. For me, James Maddison. For me, James Maddison is an absolutely amazing 10. He is not a central midfielder. He doesn't play central midfield.
I would play Trent there over Mainu still because
that's
he's still
okay. Go on.
I'll put Trent in the midfield next to Declan Rice. I'm not, and again, Terry, you are doing exactly what the fans are doing. You're thinking I'm snagging Mainu.
No, I'm not.
Brilliant kid, an amazing talent.
Hang on a minute, Mo. You've challenged me to say that it's the same as a Saka situation. It's not. There isn't an outstanding candidate who's played regularly for England for the last 2 years in that midfield role. Do we agree on that?
Yeah, but you made a general rule.
Hang on a minute. I didn't make a general rule. I have made a general rule, but the general rule's broken here. Is there a player who for the last 2 years has played next to Declan Rice that has performed to Saka's level?
No.
Well, therefore, the rule hasn't been broken, has it? Because that's there. On your Trent point, Trent in the midfield next to Declan Rice is a much better idea than James Maddison. James Maddison is not a central midfielder. He's a 10. Bellingham is our 10.
Positioning is. By the way, now we're talking about tactical and the difference between me and you in looking at the Spurs games. I actually believe Maddison is not only a 10. I believe Maddison is all over the pitch. Maddison probably is very dangerous when he comes close to the 18 of the opposition. Maddison is someone, if you look at where he picks up the ball, Maddison goes and picks up the ball from the defenders. A lot of times, Maddison does that. Maddison has the capability. I'm a Maddison fan. Maddison isn't only a 10. The total football that they play at Spurs allow Maddison because Declan Rice is there and because Bellingham, who isn't a 10, Bellingham is a number 8, allows Madison to flourish in that system. And that's my opinion. Tactical opinion is different. There are people, I have another opinion of playing Trent there and actually having John Stones and Kyle Walker in the back for defensive. So going all attack. That's another one, going all attack. And then have Kyle Walker.
So I want to show you something for a second. I want to show you something for a second.
Go ahead.
So I look, when it comes to, I go with my eye test a little bit, but then I always go and look at the facts.
Yes.
So this is James Maddison here. I'm going to put him up on the big screen so everyone can see. That's James Maddison's heat map this season. A lot on the left, a little bit on the right, a little bit behind in his own half, but very strong in that area.
Yes.
If we then take, okay, but then if we take Jude Bellingham, who also plays in that position, and we put Jude Bellingham into this, Jude Bellingham's looks very, very similar to Mason Mount's. They play attacking midfield, stroke 10s, in my opinion. You put someone like a Mainu into this. I'm going to load he's in now. Mainu plays a very, very different role, a lot deeper and far more spread out. So from my point of view, when I've watched, and I'm only going based on what I've seen them play this year predominantly, when I see those two operate, I don't, with the way we play, generally it's 2 sitting midfielders and a 10 for England. I don't want to see Mason Maddison playing in a deep role, which he hasn't done all year. It doesn't make sense to me.
Explain to you. No, I think you're missing the point tactically here, Terry. The difference is you're comparing both players in Bellingham and Madison, who play in a team that play on the front foot. So that heat map that you see is actually a midfield for a team that the line is high. The line is high itself, but your line is much deeper. The stats show that. The positional players of the rest of the team shows that. So Madison and Bellingham on that are playing a CM role higher. Like if you watch Rodri's heat map, he's a DM. It will be similar to Madison or close to that or something like this. That is something that we have to accustom to. Spurs have average of 62% ball position. Man United are 50%. Your baseline as a team is
again. I disagree with you, and I've just gone and looked at Jude Bellingham. In an England for England.
I'm not looking at him in England. I'm looking at it because what you
hang on, wait. We've got to look. Hang on, we've got to look at Jude Bellingham, what he does for England, and when you look at his heat maps for England, and I'll put them up on the screen now for you to see. Okay. So the red isn't as deep because he plays less games, but the heat map for England in European qualifiers and the heat map for England in World Cup qualifiers looks very much the same. So the point I'm making is that deeper role that I want to see. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong button. The deeper role that I want to see either Trent or Mainu in, neither Jude Bellingham or James Maddison play in that role. I've never seen either of them excel in that role at the highest level. So from my point of view, I don't want square pegs in round holes. For me, Jude Bellingham starts in the front. Okay, I want Jude Bellingham to start in the front of the 2 players that are going to be behind him. I know idealistically we'd love to play with 1 sitting player and 2 attacking 8s.
Yes,
but that isn't how England typically play. We play with 2 midfielders that sit and 1 that goes forward. Now,
you aren't happy with Southgate. I'm
judging it. I'm not. Again, this is what I'm doing.
Let me just finish. Okay,
hold on. Finish. Go on.
You aren't happy. And the majority of England fans aren't happy with Southgate. We are here saying our opinions. Your opinion is to replace Calvin Phillips with Kobe Mainoo. So you want the same exact system played that nobody's happy with. While I'm sitting here looking from outside and I want a new system that
I'm talking about this from a sense of reality. I'm picking a team based on how we actually play, not how I would play or how we would play if Pep was our manager. I'm talking about how we set up as England, how we play, and who's best for those positions. So I think we're probably talking about 2 different scenarios. So if you're going to put people in the roles based on how we play football, I don't want Maddison in a deeper midfield role. I don't want Bellingham in a deeper midfield role. It's not where they excel. I want them. And even when Maddison started for England recently, he started on the attacking left-hand side, not in central midfield.